I'm Brian Leonard, and let's introduce you both. Meaghan LaSala, which most won't need an introduction, I don't think, that watch this show, but and Mark James.
Right.
Mark, and so I know you both from the Southern Maine Workers Center, and Meaghan, I've seen you everywhere in terms of social justice and environmental justice work. But what is it that you do, Meaghan, at the Southern Maine Workers Center?
Well, I'm a member of the Southern Maine Workers Center. I'm also on the board, and I guess I'm most active with the Healthcare as a Human Right Committee.
Okay.
And we sort of organize the Healthcare as a Human Right campaign, and I work with Mark on that.
Mark, yeah, you.
And I also work on that. It's actually something that's really dear to my heart.
Right.
You know.
Well, I don't actually, I could try to argue with you about whether or not healthcare is a human right, but it's a hard one to argue about. So I wish I could do like a point-counterpoint show, but it's just not going to happen. But so where's your campaign? I mean, what are you doing right now? Where's the campaign headed?
Yeah, so it's actually our oldest campaign. We've been working on it for about 3 years now.
Okay.
And what we've been doing for the past couple of years is having a lot of one-on-one, like grassroots conversations with folks
Right.
about the idea of whether people believe healthcare is a human right. The vast majority of people that we've talked to do believe healthcare is a human right.
Right.
But we've also been using this like survey tool to get some information about what is the state of the healthcare crisis in Maine,
Right.
but also just as an excuse to sort of have conversations with people about what their experiences with healthcare have been.
Right.
So we've talked to over 1,000 people in Maine about what it's been like for them to navigate a healthcare system that's based on profit and not based on people's needs.
Right.
Do you want to talk about
Yeah.
the survey, like what, I don't know, what your experience of the campaign has been like the past couple of years?
Actually, it's been, you get to ask people their stories and get to find out actually what they've actually gone through as
Right.
far as lack of health care or if they have health care. But more or less, you're really just blown away by the stories that people tell you that pretty much just are eager for somebody to listen to how their plight of how they're receiving health care and how, you know, so it's actually good to hear the other stories, to know that other people are going through the same thing that you are with health care.
Right. Or oftentimes in worse situations. It's hard to argue. I mean, we live in a state with a governor that's doing his best to pull that right away from everybody. I mean, not that we ever fully had it, but where do you ever get up to Augusta when you're doing this work?
Well, it's interesting. You know, most of the campaign thus far has been more based on really building a movement of people that are having this conversation about the human right to healthcare. So we've been less direct. Haven't been directing our energies at Augusta or like really even talking about policy solutions
Right.
so much
Right.
as like really digging into the core principle that what, like sort of breaking down those terms. What does it mean if healthcare is a human right? What would
Right.
that look like if we really had a system based on the human right to healthcare?
Right.
Not as a commodity
I
or
love
something
that.
that you have to like
love
earn,
it.
you know, the privilege to.
Yeah.
So, you know, now that we're stronger as an organization, that we've been having this conversation, we're going to shift. We're working on building a report based
Yeah.
on all these conversations that we've had and based on some of the data we've collected.
Sure.
And so in the coming year, I think we're going to shift more towards having some of those policy conversations and really trying to hold
Right.
politicians and other power holders accountable to what we believe most people, you know, believe is the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant, is to bring it into like everyday conversation with the normal, like everyone on the street. It's a, you know, just make it like, why don't we have healthcare as a human right, and don't make it so it isn't such a surprising conversation to have. It should just be a normalized conversation. And But
It's important to have those conversations because what's normalized right now is people not having the care that they need. And I think a lot of folks, like we've learned through these conversations, that people always point to people that have it worse than them, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, oh, I don't have it that bad, or they don't, you know, we don't think of our own experiences as being political or as being part of, you know, I think we tend to like blame ourselves or internalize our own, you know, our own experiences of not getting the care that we need. So having those conversations is really important to help us like think about our own experiences in more of a collective context, and that, you know, so many of us aren't getting the care we need.
Right.
You know, whether, you know, even people that have great insurance often don't have dental care or don't get mental health care. You know, there's all different ways that we can think about health care.
oh my God,
Yeah.
no, the dental care in Maine is the last thing that you can achieve. If it's hard to do that. I actually know that firsthand, and
Yeah.
then mental health care is right up there with it. It's very difficult. But,
Yeah.
but I hear you guys are having some fun with it too. When you're, did I hear something about being a zombie?
Oh yeah.
What was that? What's going on with that?
Well, you just try to engage people in any way that you can, and you want to do it in a lighthearted way because, to be honest, talking about healthcare is people don't really want. People are tired of the argument, and so anything that you can do to go, no, we really just need to all get on board with this, and then we won't have to have this conversation anymore. And yeah, I understand that you don't really want to hear about it, but we can't stop talking about it until, you know, then till everybody has it. And you just kind of realize that if you saw somebody, if you know, in need right in front of you, you're not going to say, does he have health insurance or not? You're going to check to see if that person's doing all right or not. You're not going to be asking for their insurance card. Yeah, but really it just comes down to when you see somebody in need, and it's not something that you're going to go, well, he or her don't deserve it.
Right, right, and this so this does include like substance abuse, like stuff like that is certainly critical, I think. And we just had a big challenge, and I'm not exactly sure how it fell with the India Street issue. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Did you?
Do you want to talk about that?
Well, actually, I'm a patient there at India Street, so I was keeping abreast of what was going on in City Council, but at the same time, I also was trying not to worry about it also.
Right.
And kind of was assured by everybody, don't worry, give this a chance and it'll just go smoothly. And so after they made the decision, I went into India Street to see my therapist, which has helped me a lot because of mental problems that I have, and found out that I didn't have a therapist anymore. So it's sort of like 2 or 3 days right after they go, this is going to go smoothly. It's like, no, I lost one doctor. Then I went, next day I had an appointment with my doctor, Dr. Ann Lemire, the next day, and I found out that pretty much I ain't going to have an HIV specialist or a primary care doctor either. So yeah, as far as it going smoothly, it's not going too smoothly for me, and that it's actually something that you don't want to go through. You don't want to be having to have the same discussions with another set of doctors. I already told that's right. It's sort of like healthcare. You'd only want to tell the story once, and it's sort of like, no, I don't want to hear it over and over again, you know.
Do you live on the eastern end? Do you live on the east end?
I live at Lafayette in the Lafayette.
So
but yeah, for me, I came to Portland from Aroostook County with having just recovered from cancer. And up there, they were said to be 200 to 300 miles between. I mean, I was actually going 200 to 300 miles every 2 to 3 days with cancer and a long-term HIV survivor. So I thought I got here to Portland, and actually I was lucky enough to find Positive Health at India Street. And through their help, actually, for the last 3 years, I've been able to actually, I'm almost back to who I was before. Before all a bunch
All
of
this,
bad stuff happened. And so it's a little bit scary for me because now I'll have to be going through, I know that's all right, but actually I really don't want to have the discussions with another set of doctors to explain something. I had a great set of doctors that listened to me, and
Yeah.
I didn't have to tell my story over and over again. You know?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice if a presidential candidate came along that we could vote for that would take all this hard work right out from under us and ensure everybody on all matters? But let's, if you don't mind, we're going to take a break.
Sure.
And partly because I know that there's a friend of mine in the audience that I want to introduce, and if you guys don't mind.
Sure.
All right. Wesley. Come here, buddy. Nice. Good. Come here, buddy.
Oh,
What's going on, buddy?
hi.
You get Wesley in the shot. Someone.
Oh, hi. Oh my goodness. You're
Wesley
so cute.
is about the same age as the show, by chance, and our good friend Kara is. Yeah, he can. Yeah.
Oh, hi.
So we're gonna watch Wesley grow as the show grows, and
You're so sweet.
yeah.
Say hi to Mark.
Oh, wow. Now I may steal her.
So Kara's gonna help me train Wesley to do interviews on the street.
Great.
Yeah, he's gonna.
Oh, that's a good.
So yeah.
Yep.
Keep
Good hook.
talk about keeping things light, right?
Yep.
He's gonna be. Oh, he's such a good dog.
Yeah.
Oh.